Okay, so continuing on, got the system back up, and I changed a few things. And basically, I think we're going to go with point lights on these lights rather than spotlights, and I'll tell you why. We had set the inverse fall off for this one. Okay, we're going to do the same for the others, because I think we can get a little bit more control the way I want rather than spotlights. And spotlights are fine too, but I think we'll go with each one of these as a point light for right now. Okay, so let's get to the orange light and let's center that out. Okay, and this way we can take that one and we can pull it right in there. And we can move it up and move it in. Okay, and we're just creating just elements. You know, if you guys have ever seen some of the stuff you can buy from various publishers on just moving animated backgrounds, this is kind of what we're creating. All right, so this is a point light as well, and we're going to put the inverse square distance on, and we're going to just increase it until we start seeing some color kind of hit the walls. And of course, we can change all of these over time, but we'll do the same with this. We'll put a fall off on. Okay, and not a lot of people use these that I know of, and because in the real world, light doesn't just emit everywhere. In 3D, it does until you put a fall off on. Okay. All right, so we've got that. I'm going to do Shift S to save it as version 3. Here's what our camera sees. Let's go to our camera properties by pressing P, like that. We're going to use globals on both motion effects and the resolutions. But we're going to bring our focal length down, make sure we got that set. Something like that, kind of a wide angle. And then we're going to come to our render globals. And let's set this to 35 millimeter 4K. Now, that's going to give me the aspect I need for film. Okay, you can see that there's a lot of these down here. Panavision, okay, 35 millimeter super, all these things. Okay, but really all we want is, we don't want to render at 4000 by 1708. I've rendered for IMAX in resolutions like that. You can just go HD, which is nice. Okay, and you get a nice kind of resolution for that. If you want a widescreen, you can do a 1.2 like that, and now you're going to get a nice widescreen. Now, 1920 by 1080 might be too big, but you like this shape, so what you can do is take the resolution multiplier and just cut it down. And that cuts that 1920 by 1080 in half, which is how we're going to keep this for right now. And then we'll save the scene. Okay, let's do a quick render. So do F9. I'll pull that up. And it's going to take a little bit longer because of the lights, but you'll see we've got a much cooler look than working with the spotlights. And it's concentrated to that area, and that's concentrated to that area, and that's concentrated. Okay, and that's what's cool about doing those fall-offs. And then as we move that light around, we can get some interesting effects. Now, we can go even further by taking this pipe grid thing up here. We'll select that. And then from the Modify panel, choose Stretch. Let's just stretch that out. Let's get some distance on there. Okay? And we can stretch it this way too. Let's cover this whole thing. Okay? And we'll save the scene. Let's do another render. Now there's a reason I did the pipes. Other than it looks kind of cool from below, it also can be cool from above. Not so much for the render. Okay? Okay, and I know that they're squished like that. It's just some kind of variation, and it doesn't necessarily need to be round pipes. In fact, I think I kind of like them like this, okay, with that little offset that we created. Okay, but here's what we can do too. Pull these back in just a little bit. Let's take another light, like this left light, Control C, let's clone it, and I'm going to press 5 to get to my light view. I'm going to press the right mouse button and move it up. And the rotation on a point light doesn't matter, but I'm just moving it so I can kind of see where it is. And if we press 4 for our perspective view here, we can look at it from a little bit wider view. And I just want to make sure that it's floating right above everything. Okay. Now, the fall off on here is not enough to translate through. So I'm going to press P to open the properties. Let's just turn that off for a minute. Under shadows, let's make sure ray trace is on. Then we're going to go to render globals. Under render, choose ray trace shadows. Save that scene again. And let's do another render. Because what will happen now is that the light above the pipes will start casting some shadows through. Okay, because that light is emitting from above, if I set it correctly. See that? So now, not only do you get just this intricacy up here, you just start getting these streaks down here. Just one more variation, and that's the whole point. Okay, we're just going to do all these different variations. Now, the box itself, it's kind of neat, but it could use like a little something. Okay, so we've got two things we can do. We'll come down here to Objects, select the box, and press H for stretch, and we can just stretch it out like this. Then press T, and then we can just kind of move it forward a bit back to where it was. Okay, so I'm going to save the scene, and that's going to get that portion done for now. We're going to do a little bit more, some lights back here. We're going to actually put some around the back side as well, and we're going to animate those lights. Okay, but for now, this camera view is working for us, and our final animation, we're just going to be moving in like this, kind of from here, from A to B, revealing our logo treatment. Okay, which we're going to animate with a cool motion plugin that's in Lightwave that a lot of people don't often use. So with that, we'll save the scene, move on to the next video.